Hello, this is Edwin Dearborn, and I am here to do the 23 powerful branding tips for startups. And I want to thank you for joining me for this. All these tips that I'm going over are from my upcoming book, Power Branding Secrets, and it will be published in about 40 days. You can go to Power Secrets or powerbrandingsecrets.com, and the site's still under construction a little bit. It's got about 5 or 10% left to build on the site, but you still can go to it. You can still read the articles and the blog posts, as well as find out about me as an author, find out the purpose of my book. I even have a video there about my upcoming book. Lots of content, and more importantly, tons of content to be published in the future in massive amounts. My plan is to do interviews with branding experts in many fields. I plan on doing Google Hangouts and interviews, as well as share tips and discoveries and new apps and new tools with you. And basically show small business people how to brand themselves correctly online. And, it's kind of a daunting task because, you're thrown into this world of business. You're working in your business. You're not working on your business. And the digital world and the marketing world is moving so fast that it's really hard to comprehend how to brand yourself correctly online. Several years ago, maybe 10 years ago, it was just enough to just push out a ton of marketing material and just overwhelm people. But now with online reviews, with transparency, so important to a brand, in actual fact, what other people are saying about you, the content they put out, the reviews, what they're saying about you on social media, this will actually brand you more powerfully than the content that you put out. And a great example is SeaWorld. SeaWorld has a lot of branding materials. I'm sure they've got a logo and a tagline, but right now they're getting killed online because of what everybody is talking about, their abusive policies towards their various animals and how they train them and how they take care of them. So what I want to do is I want to kind of shift the control back into the business owner on branding and how to leverage social media and how to take all these different things that are occurring with branding, all this information that we get, and kind of have a clean, concise, step-by-step program that anybody can implement with branding. So let's get right into it, what these are. So the first point here, and by the way, you can go to my website, Power Branding Secrets. I published this a few days ago, and it's the article is titled 23 Branding Tips for Startups. So just go to my website, and we're just going to cover this real rapidly here. The first point is focus on great design. Well, we kind of already know that we need to focus on great design, but if you looked at some people's websites or some people's content or even their uniforms, they haven't really put a lot of attention on great design. So tip number one is either if you don't design it, hire somebody, but let's start the branding off with great design. The second tip here is select a name and a logo that people connect with. A lot of times people will call their business a certain name because they like it, but other people don't understand why they call it that name. So it's important that you invest money into research so that your logo and your name actually resonate and communicate with your audience. If not, then you're going to have a lot of explaining to do. Point number three, you want to focus your brand on a niche, okay, or a niche, as somebody or some people refer to. It's actually smarter as a brand to cater to a smaller market that's more dedicated than try to be everything to everybody. When you're everything to everybody, there's not enough focus on the brand to know what it's doing. So, if you're a CPA, for example, you might be, well, I specialize in, with dentists. I have a client example, that's a CPA, and 99% of her clients are dentists. Well, that allows her to position herself and brand herself as the expert for dentists. She knows all the tax laws for dentists. She knows all the various idiosyncrasies about dentists, how dentists need to file and their taxes, etc. And she's done very well with this. Point number 4 is you want to focus on adding value and not lowering prices. Brands that focus on price as the lowest price usually have a difficult time when the economy gets tough. When the economy gets tough, now there's no profit margin left, and you're having to lower your prices even more. Think about it. Does Mercedes-Benz lower their price? Does Prada lower their price? Has Rolex lowered their prices? In actual fact, restaurants today that are serving more expensive food are doing better than restaurants like Red Robin, because Red Robin is suffering from the fact that families don't have the money to go out and spend. But the business people that want to go to high-end restaurants have the money. So focus on adding value, not building your brand solely on price. Number 5, branding tip number 5, is you want to start developing a content strategy. What do I mean by content strategy? In today's world, we're not going to know what your brand is if you're not putting something out. If you're not putting out blog posts, videos, ebooks, e-courses, a book, some type of platform that you're putting out, then we're really not going to know who you are or what you do. So the strategic objective here is, well, where are we going to concentrate our branding? Are we going to do videos? Are we not going to do videos? What kind of videos are we going to do? Because your branded content is going to become your best ambassador. Other than your happy clients, your second best ambassador is your branded content. So you want to develop a strategy. That's one of the main things that I deliver as a service, is helping people develop a focused strategy so that when they go to market with their content, it's actually resonating with their audiences. Number 6, tell better stories. Humans are natural storytellers and story listeners. I mean, since back from the caveman times, we've been telling stories. And you want to make your content story driven. You don't want to just have it buy, here's the features, now buy it. You've got to tell a story about your brand. You've got to tell a story about the owner of the brand. You got to tell a story about how the brand is interacting with the community. Again, tell better stories. Point number 7 here. You want to stay clear of hard to understand jargon and nomenclature. You don't want to get too techy. One of the problems with very specialized and highly trained technicians like dentists, like CPAs, etc., they just throw out their verbiage as like everybody knows what they're saying, and most people actually don't know what they're saying. And the true same with marketing people. Don't try to sound smart. Sound human. When your brand is human and it connects with people, you're going to have a better brand experience, and clients are going to seek you out more. Number 8, you have to be transparent as a brand. It's not a matter of choice anymore. In today's world, if you're doing something wrong or you're ripping people off, it's just a matter of time before people find out. So you have to think, okay, sooner or later, our work ethic, our level of service is going to be known. So that if you know that as a brand, that we live in a transparent world, you'll start to, you'll start to move your brand forward, and you'll start to develop your services a little bit different if you know that transparency is coming your way. Number 9, you've got to leverage video content. Right now, what am I doing? I'm talking to you via a video. This will be recorded. I'll put it on YouTube. I'm doing more and more videos, and I want to tell you a simple, powerful thing that I have learned myself as a marketer is about 2 years ago, I created a video. It's been watched, I don't know, about 2,000 times, 2,100 times. It's still working for me. I've optimized that video. I've become very educated and very knowledgeable on how to do SEO on videos, which I offer as a service to my clients. And that video is still getting me clients. I still have people calling me off that video that I made 2 years ago. I spent maybe $500 on it. I've made well in excess of $500 off that video. This is really the new virtual business card. So you've got to include video marketing in your branding. Okay, next is you want to stand for something as a brand. Millennials, particularly, really want to connect with brands that have a purpose or are involved in their community or somehow are fulfilling a mission greater than making more money. Nothing wrong with making more money, but if you're just if you come across as a one percenter, greedy businessman, it's just not going to fly with a lot of people. An example is Tom's Shoes. Tom's Shoes, as you know, when you buy a pair of shoes, they give a pair of shoes to somebody in Africa who doesn't have shoes. This has created massive word of mouth. Massive word of mouth. And it's not that they're just doing it to create word of mouth. They generally want to give shoes to people in Africa. And so that genuine purpose and mission statement that they live and breathe has really helped their brand grow. And I suggest that you too have something that you want to stand for and your brand represents. Point number 11 on my checklist here. You want to exceed expectations. You want to over-deliver, exchange in abundance. Brands that deliver and exchange in abundance will get tremendous word of mouth. Literally, people will be talking about you in real time. And what do I mean by real time? Is as the moment is occurring. Meaning they will go to Yelp and they will leave a review. They'll check in right then and there and they'll leave a review on Yelp. They'll, now with Periscope, they'll do a video of their experience about your brand. So if you are figuring out how to exceed expectations, not just deliver the goods, but deliver in excess, you're going to find that it's a very, very powerful branding tactic. Number 12, be consistent. I shouldn't have to say this, but I don't particularly enjoy Starbucks coffee myself. But the one thing that you know about Starbucks, whether you like the brand or not, is that coffee will have a consistent taste. The stores will have a consistent look. And so consistency builds trust. Are your emails consistent? Is your level of service consistent? Is your message consistent? Is everything that you're doing consistent? Consistency is a major factor in building trust, and trust is why people seek brands. Number 13, you've got to relate with your audience. And what do I mean by relate? You're going to have to connect with your audience at an emotional level. If it's all just profit and business and strategy and kind of just a business feel and not a human feel, you're not gonna cut it very well. I think some of the best content that I've ever seen is, Dove. If you go on YouTube and look up Dove, they put up this video about women who have to describe themselves and they don't feel that they're beautiful. And it's a very, very touching video. And I think it's at 65 million views. It has nothing to do with Dove soap. It just says it's a 3-minute video. I suggest you watch it. And at the end, it just says sponsored by Dove. And a very emotional appeal. And of course, what does this do for the brand? That the brand understands that women are introverted about their beauty. Okay, be extraordinary. It's kind of like exceed expectations, but I'll tell you why it's different. I think that extraordinary is not just a service point. I think you need to be extraordinary in everything that you do. So, one of the things I consult brands is like, okay, who are your competitors? And we will assess their competitors, their top 3 or 4 competitors. And one of the questions I'll ask them is, how can you be extraordinary that would differentiate you from your competition? What is that one little touch? For a hotel, it may be that little chocolate on your pillow. That's extraordinary. You normally don't get a chocolate on your pillow. Little touches like that, the devil's in the details. And so we look for these little things that you can be extraordinary in, and it's a great branding differentiator. Point number 15, choose the right social media platform for your brand. One of the problems that I run into in social media is I'm on Twitter, I've got a Facebook page, we're on Google Plus, we've got this, we got that, and they just give up. Well, why they've given up is because they've become dispersed. They haven't concentrated on the one thing that will really allow them to reach their audience. And I'll give you an example. I had a client who was probably on maybe 6 or 7 social media platforms. And I asked her, I said, is it any of it doing any good for you? And she's like, you know what? To be honest with you, I'm just ready to give the whole thing. Social media sucks. I hate social media. I don't even see the results from it. And I said, great. What we're going to do is we're going to get rid of 5 social media channels, and we're going to keep 1. And we're not going to get rid of them, but we're not even going to bother with them. So what's the social media platform that you have seen that your audience connects with the most? And she said, Facebook. I'm on Facebook. I get Facebook. I know how to do Facebook. I said, good, we're doing Facebook. And not only that, we're going to get really good at Facebook. Now, what does that mean, really good? We're going to learn how to do Facebook ads. We're going to learn how to respond to people, to your posts. We're going to learn what content to share on Facebook. And what happened is that it gave her a stable focus on what to do, and we started to create better posts, and we started to resonate more with people. And of course, conversations started to occur. How does your product work? What are your prices? When can I come see you? And now we had dialogue occurring, which is what social media is about. It's social media. It's not advertising, which is a one-way communication. Social media is a two-way communication. So my tip there is stay with a social media platform that makes sense for you and your brand. Number 16, build up brand ambassador. A brand ambassador is somebody, there's a lot of fancy definitions. I'll tell you what my definition is. Someone that's really excited about your brand and is talking about it. Do you know that 60% of the content online is produced by 5% of the people online? So you've got people out there that are just super excited about social media. I'm one of them. And super excited about creating content. I'm one of them. And they're just posting all the time. They're creating content. Well, wouldn't you like to know who these 5% are within your audience? Because if you can incentivize them and involve them within your brand, they will do so much communicating for you. And, you know, I'm a big coffee lover, and there's a coffee place here in Orange County I love, the Lost Bean. I've easily brought 100 people, physically introduced, going, oh, I've got this great place that I want to tell you about that's got great coffee. Not to mention, I've probably checked in on Facebook and Yelp maybe 100 times when I'm there, which now alerts about 4,000 or 5,000 people that I'm at, I've shared their videos. I've shared the fact that I'm there. I've taken pictures of my cup of coffee. Like, I'm a brand advocate, and I know that I've been a valuable asset to that brand. Well, you want to locate those people and you want to reward them in some way. It's not necessarily money, but, patient of the month or patient of the week or client of the week. Anybody who's talking about you, you want them to blog about you, post photos on Instagram, check in on Yelp, check in on Facebook. And that was one of the things we did with the coffee shop. We gave them a 10% discount if they checked in. They just show, hey, I've checked in. You know what? 30% of the people that were walking in that coffee shop when we started that program started checking in. And of course, it built great word of mouth. So build up your brand ambassadors. Okay. You've been hearing me talk about social media. You got to network in person. Public speaking. I just spoke at a high school last Friday to 70 students. That gave me an opportunity to talk about, now they're not necessarily my public, but their parents could be. I spoke at a wellness coaching workshop. They asked me if I would speak to their employees for free. Absolutely. Why? Because I'm out there putting my face and my brand and my enthusiasm in front of more people. And guess what happens? I get phone calls, I get referrals. I can turn those events into content. I can film them. And it's just a great way. I think brands that are part of the community, they're out there talking, have a human face. And not only that, they keep their brand relative because they've got their pulse. They're not just sitting behind a laptop doing social media. They're interacting with real live human beings. Okay, next one is build partnerships. This is vitally important. When I say build partnerships, I'm talking about joint venture marketing opportunities. So if you're a wedding planner and you're just starting out as a wedding planner, why don't you go into a partnership with a florist? You go, look, as I collect more email addresses and I start to do more business and I start to get my brand going, when I need flowers, I'll refer them to you. But if you have people coming in for flowers and that they ask if you know a good wedding planner, I want you to send them my way. Well, how many people could you develop a joint relationship with? Think about it. One brand that someone already trusts now transfers that trust over to you, to your brand. This is probably the most cost-effective branding and marketing tactic that I know. So look around and find out what would be logical and profitable joint venture opportunities and partnerships for your brand. Point number 19, public relations is vital. Public relations is really, how do I build rapport with my audience in a way that I'm not trying to sell them? I'm trying to service them. I'm trying to make sure that they know the good things that I'm doing. So it's important that when you accomplish something good, whether it's a result with a client or you've won an award or you've written a book, you let your audience know the result that you achieved. Good public relations is about letting people know the good things that you're doing. So if you get a good review on Yelp, what I'll do is I'll cut and paste it and I'll post it on Facebook and Twitter and I'll include it in my next email. I'll let people know that I am doing good things. And that's just part of public relations. Another good public relations activity is to offer free things, free consults, free webinars, what I'm doing right now, free workshops. All these types of stuff build rapport with your community. Also, you can use press releases very inexpensively. 24/7 press release, I think it's called, is a very affordable service. I've used them probably 8 or 9 times, and it just gets your buzz out there, and people even find it on search. Next point is invest in media training, particularly if you're a brand where one person is dedicated to marketing and sales. You've got to educate your marketing and sales people in media training. Media is changing so rapidly. I even myself invest, and I just purchased a $400 course about a month ago on how to do better YouTube marketing. And even though I'm very involved in YouTube marketing and I know a lot about YouTube marketing, this person obviously knew way more than I did. And I was like, you know what? I can never know enough about this space. I'm going to buy the course. And I learned a tremendous amount on top of what I already knew. And so this is something that I practice myself. I do invest in training, and media training is so important this day for brands. Number 21, invest in staff training. One of the things that kills a brand faster than anything I know is incompetent employees. Now think about it. I hear about the branding, about the Lost Bean, right? And I get their emails and I see the good Yelp reviews, and and then I go in there and someone is brand new and doesn't know how to make me a cappuccino, and it takes me 10 minutes to make my cappuccino and get my burrito. I mean, now because I'm a brand ambassador for the Lost Bean, I'm definitely coming back. But what if that was my first experience? I probably wouldn't come back. So how you service people and how you interact with them is very, very important in your branding. It's not one of those things that you see right away in a branding plan. Most brand marketers don't really look at that. But more and more is being written about this. In fact, Harvard Business Review wrote an article, I think about a year ago, awesome articulation on how important customer service is as a branding point. This is not just a customer service, it's a part of your branding. How well do you treat people? Are you hospitable? Is your services fast? So look to invest in staff training to make them more competent. Point number 2, you've got to listen and adjust. Look, I've probably changed my brand in the last 3 or 4 years about 3 times. And that's because I would go out thinking, okay, the market wants this, and I'm beating my head for about 4 months, and I'm like, you know what? They don't particularly want this, but they want this. Branding, a key thing is listening and adjusting. You ever heard of a brand called Blockbuster? They didn't listen. They didn't adjust. Did you ever hear of a brand called Enron? Well, they obviously had some ethical problems, but they didn't listen to their conscience, and they didn't adjust. I could give you numerous examples of brands that have not adjusted to the changing trends. So just because you have a brand one day, it may change a couple years from now. A great example is McDonald's. This whole GMO and, making kids fat. I mean, you're going to see major changes in McDonald's and the type of menu items they offer because, sooner or later they're going to have to listen and adjust or they're going to be out of business. And then my last one is remain enthusiastic. Boring brands do not succeed. In fact, the most distinctive factor, take a look at some of the public speakers. Grant Cardone, Brian Tracy, I'm sure you can cite many examples. What makes these brands so unique and so successful? They have an enthusiasm for what they do. They have such a conviction and a belief. So one of the things that when I coach brands is how do we add that enthusiasm? How do we add that X factor? And how do we make your brand fun? Or how do we make your brand extremely passionate? And Southwest Airlines is a great example. Why is it different? Because when you go on a Southwest flight, the service is consistent and the staff are enthusiastic. They really love working for Southwest. You get a unique feel as compared to other airlines, which I won't mention. Some airlines I've flown on, which I'll never fly on again. But Southwest is very unique in that. So those are my 23 tips. I did it in 28 minutes. I did it in the half hour. Thank you for listening and following me. I see that I've got 3 people on this. Again, go to powerbrandingsecrets.com. You can also go to edwindearborn.com. This is my upcoming book, Power Branding Secrets. I look forward to getting that book to you. If you have any questions for me, you can reach me at edwindearborn@me.com. That's DEARBRN. Once again, thank you for coming to my Google Hangout. I hope you learned some things, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.